Good afternoon, and welcome to another ill-conceived version of Diatribes from the Voice of Doom. Now here's your illustrious and illuminating host, Voice of Doom. It's getting closer. It's getting closer and closer to the day of reckoning. So I figured I'd do another diatribe, even though I just did one a few days ago. I don't like how it's turning out. I'm out of practice. I'm going to have to keep on doing my thing just to keep sharp. Because you stop doing something and you lose the ability. I've looked at my last few diatribes. They're horrible. It would probably go on my list of worst of doom. But I'll compile that later. Now, I wanted to talk about the whys and wherefores of the inexplicable things that have been happening over the last 4 years. Maybe before that, but 4 years. And then explain why we're in a bit of a pickle as a populace of the planet. Okay. What's inexplicable? Well, let's see. Having millions of people come over the border into the United States with no rhyme or reason, no way to support themselves, no way to take care of themselves in the most basic of fashions, coming over by the millions with knapsacks and being relocated throughout the breadth and width of what used to be the U.S. for them to live on the streets. Now, it's gone beyond absurd. It's not Fellini-esque. It's something from Dante's Inferno or something, where you have a situation where all these people are just being bussed and shipped around like chattel. And a lot of them are turning out to be not good people. And things are happening that we just can't allow to happen, but we're allowing it to happen. I mean, they are, Venezuela wants to look good. How good can you look if you don't have any criminals at all in your country? We had no crime. None. Because we sent all our criminals to the U.S. and now they're killing us and stealing. And doing things with impunity. Now, my mom lives in Aurora, Colorado. And she hasn't talked to me at all about any gangs coming to her door. But I have a feeling that, it's not happening in her neighborhood. We'll see. But they're running neighborhoods with impunity, and I know if they're doing that in Aurora, Colorado, you can only imagine what they're doing in Hell's Kitchen or places of that nature. There's probably complete takeovers of large swaths of real estate by gangs from south of the border, or what used to be. So you have rampant crime. They're not doing a damn thing about it. They're expediting it. They're training them to be worse criminals. The criminal justice system is. It's not the criminal justice system. It's the criminal training system. We will teach you how not to get caught again after we, whatever. Watch Cash Jordan's stuff on the YouTube and see what's happening to New York City. They crammed 4,000 people in one little building. It was made for 400 or something like that, or they said they can handle 400 migrants, but we can't handle 4,000. And these people have nothing to do. They're hanging around on the street. They're doing nothing. And the ones that are getting free houses, they're being evicted in less than 2 months. They can't stay in those high rises forever for free, for obvious reasons, because even the idiot liberal morons can see that they have to pay somebody for those guys to live there, and they're going to run out of money. And they might have to dip into their own salaries. So they're finding out they can't afford to do this, and yet the federal idiots, the ICE, not ICE, but Mayorkas and his ilk, and Grandma Garland just keep pumping people into this country inexplicably. Now, what else is inexplicable? 320,000 kids unaccounted for? Unaccompanied minors came over the border unaccompanied, and we don't know where they are. And when they do find anybody, they're not in good shape. They've been exploited. I won't go into detail. Use your imagination if you dare. 320,000 kids unaccounted for. Now, you're telling me we should continue with this under a new administration called the Kamala era and continue doing this until this whole country's crammed with people and they're stealing from each other and they're like rats in a cage. Is that what we're going to do? Inexplicable. What else is inexplicable lately? It's the whole political system of how you choose a candidate. For one side, we will do it the old-fashioned way. We will have a convention, we will have primaries, we will go state by state and decide who our nominee is going to be. For the other side, it's like, oh, we'll just name somebody. We'll just, it's going to be you. Well, no, not you, you. Okay. I mean, come on. I don't want to retread old ground with the political system being inexplicable, but I will explain it to you since I'm a person who comes up with answers, and it's not good. I'm going to tell you the story again. It's not a very long one. I think I said it maybe 3 years ago. I told you the story about when my band was doing very off-the-wall gigs because we were an industrial band, primitive, minimalist. We had no instruments, and it was a concept band. But we were playing various gigs, and one guy worked at this warehouse and said, they're tearing down this warehouse in a few days. So the boss said we could use it to have a party. Bad idea to say that. Bad idea. Because it's one thing to say you can have a rave here. It's another thing to say we're going to tear this place down in a few days so you can have a rave here. Because the punks tore the place apart. And it was a total chaotic mess. I mean, it was getting to the point of, real primitive animalistic behavior. And we played the gig, and there was a lot of right-wing Hawaiians that didn't like us because we were very anarchist socialists back then. And we had literature with our show, and it was a skinhead Hawaiian, kind of weird to think about, but they didn't like it. They could see the communism in there. I dabbled in it, and it was all right. I studied it, and I realized it wasn't going to work, and I moved on. So what? But the analogy is this. If you know something's going to fall apart, then what difference does it make what you do? And that's what these powers that be know. And their lackeys and minions and apparatchiks, such as Kamala and that ilk, are doing their bidding, thinking that they're part of the elite. They are not, though, you see. He's very, very, very high up where you have like $50 billion or more just to get into the club. They don't think anything about Grandma Garland or Mayorkas. They'll throw them to the wolves as soon as look at them, as soon as they're done using them. So yes, they know, the elites and the so-called elites know that something's coming that will make all this stuff moot. It doesn't matter how many people you cram into a city and let them loot everything. They're taking everything in the city. No one can function there. And it's only going to get worse and spread until everybody's up in arms and then realize they can't do anything about it. Except dog eat dog, gunfire amongst the citizenry. So they know it's falling apart. They know 6 billion people have to leave in short order. And how's it going to happen? We can only surmise. But since they know that 6 billion people are going to leave soon, it doesn't matter how many people you cram from Venezuela or Mauritius or the Congo or wherever else they're coming from. And they're coming from everywhere. Pretty soon they'll be coming from England and France, because it's like we want asylum too. Probably a few of them are European, whatever. Saw an article today on the news about Christians are being slaughtered in Nigeria, I believe it is. Hope I got it right, because I don't want to put down a country, but Christians are getting slaughtered and nobody's really paying much attention to that. It's by Islamic terrorists in Africa. But I think they think it's just like that's karmic retribution. You Christians caused a lot of problems, and now you're getting your comeuppance. So I guess that's the way they're looking at it, because nobody really cares about them. But yeah, we're doomed, and it'll probably happen within the next 58 days, because we can't have either candidate win the presidency, and there's only 2 people running. They won't allow Orangey to win, and we can't allow Gargoyle to win. I mean, that's just the way it is. No one can win. They will not tolerate Orangey solving these problems. They took a lot of time and trouble to cram millions of people into the inner cities to loot them, and they spent a lot of time and trouble creating this inflation and housing bubble and a lot of other crises they've created, and they don't want some guy coming along trying to solve problems. It's obvious. It's not going to be allowed. It's not going to be allowed by them. It's going to put a crimp on their plan. We can't allow Gargoyle because, I mean, I don't know if she's schizophrenic or if she's, or what, but she seems to be campaigning against herself. She keeps saying we got to turn a page. This era's got to, we got to change. It's like, you were in charge for 4 years with this guy, Petri dish, and you're acting like he was never president. We got to get away from the Trump era. Well, you had 4 years to get away from the Trump era. Look what you've done. You've done nothing but destroy the planet. We even talked about the foreign countries. They're blowing each other up. And they're allowing that to happen, so they just know that the 6 billion get a head start. But she can't be allowed to win for obvious reasons, and he won't be allowed to win by hook or crook. So something's got to happen in the next 58 days by my reckoning. That's why I'm not really paying my bills right now. I don't think I'm going to worry too much about it, because I think there's going to be some sort of a black swan that will totally take people's minds off whether you paid your phone bill or not. Just think that's what's happening. Kind of hoping it happens, because I'm banking on that, otherwise I'm going to be in big trouble. But there's your explanation. 6 billion people, they want to get rid of a lot of the population. There's no need for people in this number on this planet when they can get machinery to do most of the brute work. So all you need is brilliant people who can make chips. I don't know how they do it, but to check into that. But it's amazing technology. I mean, just the simplest things. Even this YouTube, man, I don't know how they do it. It's just alien stuff. So there's your explanation. Hopefully I'll be seeing you again. And that's all. That's all, folks. See you later. Bye.